Hey,
Hey, I lost everything.
did you lose everything?
Yeah, all right,
Well,
don't worry, don't
we can
worry.
still see you. We can still see you.
Can you? Okay.
Yep, just keep talking.
I
Good
don't know
evening,
what.
everybody. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I don't know what happened,
Yeah,
but
I can see you just fine. So
okay. Let me
you're
go
still
back
alive.
in.
Oh, now you went. So he's going to reset. But welcome to the show this week. With our there he is. Now he's back on. I see you. I see you at least. Hold on, you haven't popped up on the screen just yet. Just hang on. I can't see you just yet. I see a blank screen, but can you see him on the screen? No. Okay. All right. Well, I guess the big news is we had a nice little cold front come through this past week, last week, and kind of cooled things off for a little bit. Kind of a little windy and everything, but it's definitely warmed back up again. Water temperatures are still around the upper 60s, lower 70s in some places. And fishing, from what I could tell and what I've seen from a lot of reports around the area, is still very, very productive. Um, but I don't think it's going to start slowing down till about January, February, where it gets too cold and those fish really shut down for days on end. But we'll see how it goes. Sergio's still kind of working on his end, trying to get back in. Something happened, but we'll just kind of, I'll talk to you myself. Kind of have a hard, it's hard to have a conversation with yourself, but we'll give it our best shot. Yeah, he had to kick back out again. So let's see. Good evening, Jim. Alejandro. Looks like you said, how are you doing this evening? So, got several different reports from all over. I think Jim sent one in. I know Tony's got one. Jessica has got one sent in. So we'll get those on here in just a little bit and talk about what's happening out there. Anybody, by the way, if anybody on the line there, yeah, the snook like pins more than white bait. No, they love the white bait, but unfortunately with us, trying to catch white bait is kind of a chore. It's not like they've got big schools out there. Most of the time, you definitely have to go hunt for them and try to locate them and chum them up and spend an hour or so and then sabiki them up. So it's kind of more of a pain in the butt than it is down there.
You
Down
see
there, you
me?
can pretty much see them everywhere. I
No.
see you, Sergio. There
All
he
right.
is. He's
All
back
right.
now.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Thank God. Oh, Jesus. That's what happens to modern technology.
Yeah,
Something popped up on the screen. I clicked it to turn it off, and it boom, there it goes.
everything gone.
Oh my God. Hey, beautiful weather, everybody. Beautiful weather all week, it looks like.
Yeah. It's been kind of nice. That's what I was just kind of talking about a little bit. And then Jim asked about the white bait and pins up in our area. And we use a lot of pins. We can use white bait. And when we do find it, if it's around, we definitely use it real quick. But some of these, unfortunately, what's happening is we get a few of these captains who go out there and they find the white bait and they take that time in the morning and they'll, spend an hour or two getting a white bait and then go feed the snook from it with it and catch their snook. And a lot of those snook are getting used to that white bait and they're really not wanting to touch pins anymore.
Well,
So,
you know that I was talking to some of the captains down here, and a lot of them have almost cut back on chumming because what
mhm,
they found out is that they'll go into a spot where the fish used to bite all the time, and now unless you don't chum them, they don't want to bite because
yeah,
they're used to that.
right,
And if you don't have a lot of bait, you can't be chumming, so then you're not getting the
correct.
bites. So a lot of them are just saying, we're not going to chum. We're just
Yeah,
going to put the bait out there, and they're going to have to go after it. You know?
yeah. Yeah, there's not too many times that I chum. Most of the time, if I do it in a different way. I'll chum, but I'll use just small pieces of cut bait just to get the bait around that area that I know some fish are kind of excited and kind of get the other fish interested. But I'll have the same type of bait out there that I'm using, um, fishing with it. But I don't really throw a whole. I used to carry a bat, wiffle bat on my boat. I just don't do it anymore. And I think it's because of that reason. Because I would sit there and throw a bunch of shrimp or cut pins or whatever else in there, and yeah, it works great for a little bit. But I've gone back a couple, 3 times, and I'm not catching any fish unless you do it. So yeah, I would agree with that.
And then what happens? You start chumming, and sometimes you just feed them. Then you only get a few bites because you
Mhm.
already fed them.
Yeah, yeah. So instead, my way of chumming is I'll just have a cut bait on a hook already and throw it out there and make sure it's got good scent, and just I'll keep the fresh bait. I won't let a bait sit too long. I'll just keep cutting fresh bait and throwing it out there. And to me, that's a good way to chum them up. That way, if they do find it, hey, they're hooked.
The other thing I noticed down here is that it's funny. You'll throw a bunch of chummers. You see them popping the chums. You throw your bait with a hook on it.
Mhm.
It's like saying, no, that one's got a
Yeah,
hook.
yeah,
They're getting smart.
they are, and perfect example. Pensacola, when I did offshore fishing there, I found a way to bring those bigger fish up to the boat by chumming, and I'd use a lot of squid, little baby squid, and just get them up. And a lot of times I get the triggerfish up and a couple of the other small ones, but then we eventually get those big red snappers up from 80 to 90 feet down. They come up to the surface, and you would have to really use very light line, very small hooks to get them to bite it. And you'd have to throw in a whole handful of chum with your hook out there for it to fool them enough. And you will see those bigger fish, those quality fish, come up to that hook, and you think, oh, I'm gonna get them, I'll get them. They see one little thing, boom, they're gone. So
That's exactly what,
they're
that's
used to
happening
it.
here on the
it
snook.
yeah, it doesn't look right, and they're off. But every once in a while, you'd get the dumb ones, and we still get some quality fish. But those real big ones, they're big for a reason. They're smart.
And that's one of the things that we notice down here. I mean, you'll go in and you throw out a bat full and they start popping it. And man, it used to be you could throw your bait with a hook right where you saw a pop and you got a hit.
Hmm.
And now they don't touch it.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, nah, something, like you say, something's wrong. I'm not going to
Hmm.
hit that bait. I'll hit the other
Yeah.
ones.
It doesn't look like the others.
Hey, Donald came in. You're running late, Donald. What happened
Hey,
today?
Donald.
He's running late today.
Yeah.
But
So
down here, the trout action, I think, is going to start really kicking up with the water temperature. Now, one of my friends was down in the Everglades last week. They went down there and fished with a captain. And he said the water temperature was in the low 60s in the Everglades and
ah,
no water, right? When those
wow.
fronts coming
Well,
through. And
yeah.
he said, man, they caught some snook and they caught some redfish and they caught some flounder and puppy drum, but they were using strictly live shrimp.
Hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
The captain that they went out with, he says, no, he says, it's not nothing but live shrimp right now. First thing you can even find. There's no white bait around. And the live shrimp, it works better.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, that's what happens with us here. Once that water temperature drops, pinfish tend to go offshore a little bit farther, and that's pretty much what we use is primarily shrimp. Like I said, I will stop through the river, especially if the ladyfish. You can see the small schools of ladyfish popping the surface. I'll grab a few of those, throw them in the ice chest, and use chunks for that. But most everything kind of switches over to shrimp. So,
Hey, I like shrimp.
mhm.
It's easy, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, it
And,
is.
and and tell you, when you use white bait, for example, this time of the year, yeah, there's some redfish, some snook, and some trout, but you miss out on some of the other good species. You
Hmm.
know, the sheephead is
Yeah.
one that's not going to hit a white bait. I mean, you'd be surprised. I think flounder tend more to go towards the shrimp.
Oh yeah.
on the bottom.
Mhm.
So I think in the winter months, the fish know that whitebait's not supposed to be around. And like down here, some guys will run all the way to the Skyway to catch bait because, oh, I got to have whitebait. And I'm saying, man, you just went 40 minutes down there, spent an hour catching bait, 40 minutes back. I said, for what? What you spent, you could have bought 12 dozen, 14 dozen shrimp and just
Yeah.
not put the hours on the motor
Right.
and slept in a little bit. And you're going to get the same action because snook
Mhm.
bite's going to slow down now with the water temperature. So no
Yeah,
matter what you
exactly.
got,
Yeah.
I think actually shrimp is a better bait in the winter than whitebait
Mhm.
for snook. I don't know
Yeah,
about you,
they'll
but I
hit it
think so.
quickly.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, they'll hit that and we use one of the other wintertime baits, if you really want to stick with live bait, minnows or something like that, you don't have the pinfish. One of the ones that we go to strictly in wintertime is mud minnows. I mean, if you think about it, mud minnows, they're always in the shallows, they're always in the marshes. And when you get those negative tides, it kind of pushes them out of those areas. So it's kind of an extra little snack for these fish because it pushes them out of there's no water up in those shallows because of the negative tides. So it pushes them out to where the fish can feed on them. But we find that mud minnows work very, very well in the wintertime as well, especially on a jig head just sitting right there on the bottom where the mud minnow can't move anywhere. That that just turns on the fish quick, along with shrimp. So, but yeah.
another big thing down here in the winter months, you get a lot of those puppy drums
Mhm.
around the potholes. And, those things are good fighters, they're 5, 6 pounders, but
Yeah.
they're not, again, those aren't going to hit any white bait. They're going to hit the
No.
shrimp.
Yeah.
So I think when you go to shrimp in the winter, you increase your chances of catching more fish, more
Oh
speed.
yeah.
If the snook aren't biting that day and you got white bait, you got some trout or maybe redfish. Of course, I prefer to use nothing but artificials on the redfish and the trout in the winter. But I mean, if you got people out and they want to catch some fish,
Yeah.
I think shrimp is going to be your best overall bait. No
Oh,
question
it
about it.
is. It is. Yeah. I mean, especially on any charters, when we're fishing in the river here, because everything comes into the river, Salt River, Ozello, Homosassa, Crystal River, Withlacoochee, everything kind of pushes in toward the rivers. And you get 200-300 shrimp on a boat for a charter easily because you're going to go through quite a bit of it. You're going to catch mangrove snapper, you're going to catch sheep's head, you're going to catch black drum. A lot of time, every once in a while, not all the time, but every once in a while, you're going to catch that flounder. You're going to catch a redfish. You're going to catch the trout. It's just you're going to catch a lot more species that way using the shrimp. You just have a better opportunity to be versatile in what you catch. So shrimp is definitely the go-to, and it's basically at that point right now where that has changed from pinfish and all that to shrimp. I'm not even worried about the pinfish traps. In fact, they aren't up already. I know I got a couple out there, friends of mine we share, but I guarantee they probably pulled them already. There's just no point.
You don't want to leave them out there because if some do get in there and you're not tending to the trap, you're just killing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you're just killing
yep, yep.
fish. So
So
yeah,
we just take it away. Not only that, after a while, if a trap just sits there for a long period of time, it will disappear. It's that magical place it goes to. So, it just disappears on you.
yeah. You go one day and there it is,
Yeah,
gone.
yeah, it's just gone.
It's that strong current just took it.
Because
And
yeah,
it's
because
funny,
some
it
people,
probably took it to some address in Crystal River.
yeah, well, some people just can't keep their hands off other people's property. So, just what it is.
So
But yeah, it's a good time of year. I love doing the shrimp because it's just easy. You pick up a bunch of it at the bait shop and you're ready to go. The first place you stop, there you go. You're ready to fish. And, and that's one of the reasons why we brought it out a couple of weeks with you. So I wanted to make sure we stop somewhere, catch a few fish, and then pick up the pinfish and try for something else. So, but even that day, I think we caught everything on shrimp, didn't we?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
most everything,
So
yeah, definitely. Now
yeah.
up there in Crystal River, you guys have. I kind of like what they do. I think they do that at O'Neill's, or they used to. When you buy your shrimp they don't cult them out, do they?
No, no, there are no selects here. There is only one place that does, and I'm not going to blow them up because it's kind of a special thing they do for a couple of the captains around. But no, there is no selects, and that's the one thing that was very difficult to deal with here because we're used to like down there in the Tampa Bay or shoot even up Pensacola. They had no problem giving you the select type baits. You pay a little extra for it, but you're getting the bigger shrimp and everything else like that. And again, devil's advocate, I do understand why they don't do it because there are limited bait stores that we have here, and they can run out of shrimp very quick. The suppliers, they don't have enough suppliers. So I get it. They give everybody the same opportunity, but again, it's not easy when you have to buy 300 shrimp just to get 100 that are capable enough of putting on your hook, because some days that happens and it's not easy to deal with. But
I mean, all the shrimp that we had were all, I thought, was real decent.
yeah, it was decent, and we do get those times. I mean, and it depends on the cold fronts that come through. It's not every week that happens. There'll be times where we got 2-3 months of great shrimp. You get some small ones in there, big deal, but you got plenty to fish with. And then you get a good cold front come through, or the storms come through, boats can't get out, it gets limited. And then when they do go out, the shrimp that they get, because they've already sold the good shrimp to the restaurants or whatever else, you're getting leftovers for bait most of the time. So, you get the smaller ones, and it just happens. And again, it's not the bait store's fault. So I'm not blaming them in any way. It's just the way it is out here.
But Mike, in a way, think about it. It's like you said, if they had regulars, mediums, and large, and like selects, like they do down here, what'll happen is if you get a group that comes in and takes all the larges, and all that's left is regulars and mediums, and you say, well, gee, I think because when they're doing it, they're not going by size. They're just reaching in there and counting. So
right.
you had some pretty good sized shrimp in your batch.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we really had any shrimp in that cooler that we couldn't use.
No, and that's one of my favorite places I stop in, and I'll tell you, it's Tees Bait. They're real good guys there. Been going to them for years, and they always seem to have very quality shrimp. And I get it. And I've talked to the owners and I've talked to the shrimp guys. It's just the way, because of the area we are and because of where they have to get them. Some days and some trips, they're just not great sizes, and that's what it is. And I understand that you can't selectively put out, because the fleet that we have to catch a shrimp isn't that large. It's not like a larger city in Tampa, St. Pete, or Bradenton, or farther up north, Pensacola, where you've got a lot more boats going out and you have the opportunity to catch a lot more shrimp. So it's just kind of one of those things that you just have to deal with, and you just buy a little bit more. That's all. And then you get enough that you can do it.
And I mean, actually, starting next month, if I'm fishing the shallows, I love to use my saltwater assassin baits. I mean, I don't buy as much shrimp unless I'm going for sheephead or something like that I need it. But if I got people that want to fish for trout, or they want a bunch of action, there's nothing better than getting into those deep water flats with the artificial, the paddle tails. I mean, my God, you can give anybody a paddle tail and they can catch fish with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is. And Donald said the paddle tail chicken on a chain. Yeah, that and the electric chicken. I'd never understand those colors, but for some reason, they're the best thing in the world to use, the color wise, and especially to me, at least, when it is just butt cold outside, where you really don't want to be out there, but you've got a trip, you've got the people here. They're used to the cold, but as a native Floridian, I can't stand it. But you have to do what you have to do. And some days that color right there will overproduce anything else out there. And I find it on the coldest days, those things produce more fish than anything else I've got in my box.
Yeah, it's just crazy. You're saying this, I love this deal when it was like last year in the winter months, it'd be in the 40s, and you pick up these people at the hotel like at the Vinoy or something. And they come on, they got Bermuda shorts on
Oh.
and just a long sleeve t-shirt. I say, man, I'm all bundled up.
Uh-huh.
And they
Uh-huh.
look at me like saying, one guy last year, I said, man, aren't you cold? And he looks at me and says, Captain, I left 5 degrees below zero, 45 degrees. This is hot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 40s and 50s, that's nothing to them. I mean, and then a lot of times I'll tell my clients, I'm like, I know you're coming from up north, but it does get a little cool on the water. And they show up at the dock the next morning and, they're in one pair of jeans and a t-shirt and a small sweater. And I'm going, and I'm sitting here in, long johns, jeans. I got the bibs on. I've got my oversized coat, the beanie, the gloves, the mask. I mean, I'm all, because it's just cold.
But for them, it's not. I mean,
No.
these guys living up north at 20-degree weather, 30-degree weather, 25 every day, your body's used to that. Let's
Yeah.
face it.
Yeah.
They said that your blood thins out when you move down here after a
Mhm.
while. And it is. I mean, I've had people from up north that the first couple of years, they would go out in short sleeve shirts and 40-degree weather, no problem. Then
Yeah.
about the third year, they start saying, nah, it's getting a little chilly.
Well, as I always said, you can always tell who's from up north when you see them swimming in the water in the beach, February and March.
We got Dennis on the line. We got Alejandro, Donald.
Hey, Dennis.
Hey, welcome everybody. But no, so I'm getting really jacked up because this is the time of the season that, number one, I was ready for a change. I really was. I was tired of that long, hot summer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be cold, but you get those beautiful days that it's cold, but not terribly cold.
Mhm.
And God, and the other thing I like about artificials, you don't get your hands wet trying to get the shrimp.
Right.
Plus that keeps you active. When
Yeah.
you're casting, you're doing this all the time. That
Uh-huh.
really keeps you active. And I think that keeps you warm to some
It does.
degree.
It does. Well, and that's the one thing up here that we were talking about when you guys were here, is that we don't put our shrimp in the live well. We don't put them in the water. We don't put them in the live well. We don't really keep them. We keep them alive, but we don't keep them in the water. It's just a little bit different technique here, and I'll get my little bucket out here soon. It's kind of a little insulated bucket, but just keep them in a bag. We get them in a bag, put a little ice in there, put a wet towel down, and then dump the shrimp in that thing with a wet salt towel. Put the shrimp on top of it, close the lid. There's your shrimp all day, and they will last all day. And they're alive. They're still kicking. But yeah, we don't put them in the water, so our hands are even less wet just by picking up some shrimp. So
because what you're doing is you're dropping the metabolism down.
Yeah.
And then once you put them in the water, they kick back in. But again, the fresh water, if you kept them in a live well in fresh water, in about 30 minutes, they're gone.
Oh yeah. They're going to die.
They can live a little bit in fresh water.
Yeah.
Not very long.
No.
So.
No, and yeah, it's a neat technique. Just learning how to deal with that. I mean, I've got a friend of mine who's got a little Yeti, kind of like what you got behind you there, one of the buckets, Yeti buckets, and then he just puts ice in it and wet towel and puts them all on top of that, and they last all day long that way, especially in the wintertime. I mean, they will last in the summertime as well that way, but we rarely put our shrimp in water all year long. It's kind of a different way to deal with it, but it works.
Hey, I learned about that technique years ago when I started going to Chassahowiska, because up there, that's the way the captains do it. Like I tell you, they just have like a 20-pack cooler, and they go to like the Michaels or one of those places, and it's a piece of plastic that's got holes in it that they use it for like weaving the women. They stick it through, and they just put that on top of the ice.
Yeah.
And then they put all the shrimp on top and close it, and that keeps them cold.
Yeah.
But dry.
The shrimp cannot be right directly on the ice. It will kill them that way. So that's where it's detrimental to have some sort of insulation between it. And that's, as you saw in my bucket, I have my bucket and I put it inside the little cooler there. And that keeps them from being directly on the ice, but it keeps them cold enough in there, because if they are on the ice, they will die. But keep them little, and I'll throw a little water in there, this and that. But yeah, it's a neat way to do it, especially if you're on a bridge. You're bridge fishing with shrimp or whatever else like that. You don't really have a bucket that you could drop down and pick up all the time. Put them in that. And I know that everybody uses those bubblers and stuff like that, but shrimp give off so much ammonia. They're constantly cycling, constantly feeding, and they give off a lot of ammonia. And a couple hours in the same water, it'll kill them. That ammonia will come up and it'll kill them.
The other thing too is where you're at. Yeah, probably these base shops. I mean, where they're at, they don't have a lot of salt water. It's a lot of brackish water.
Yeah, it's
so whatever salt water they got in their tanks, they need it. They don't want it. They can't be giving, because you don't think about it, but you have 300 people come in today to buy shrimp, and if each one you gave them a couple of quarts full of water, for them to take, you run out of water.
Yeah, their tanks
and then
are
you got to replace all that water.
Yeah, it's not cheap to replace it all. The salts and chemicals and everything else, you have to balance it out. So, yeah, it makes sense, because we do not. There's only the only place. There's a couple places that are on the water, and even one of them. One of them, Pete's. See, Pete's is up there in the head in Crystal River, Pete's Pier, and that's all fresh water. So their tanks themselves have to recirculate the same water they have through filters and everything else. Down the river there's a couple places, Shrimp Landing and Twin Rivers. They can actually pump out of the water and get fresh water that way. So those are the only two places that, if you did get shrimp in those places, that it's actual salt water that they're pumping out of the river area to use in their tanks. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. How about let's do Scotty Rowe's fishing report.
Sounds good.
Hello, everybody. This is Captain Scotty Rowe from Charlotte Harbor. I know I missed a report last week, and I was out of town on a deer hunt, so there was no fishing report from me. But I've been back this week, and I've moved operations back up to the Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte area. The whitebait situation is absolutely spectacular. There's no issues there. And the snook bite here in the upper harbor is absolutely fantastic. Running into some of those big schools of them 5-6 pound jacks, having fun with those. We're still getting, believe it or not, some really good mangrove snapper. Trout bite, kind of hit or miss. Run into a few, but nothing overly to brag about where I've been fishing anyway. But lots of good things going on. It's winter time. Things are changing. We're making adjustments for sure. We'll be doing a lot more fishing in the Peace River, and we'll also be doing a lot more fishing in those Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda Canal systems, especially with the lower tides on these cold fronts. Did a little offshore trip today. Had a wonderful time. I don't guide offshore, just so you know, but I do go out with friends from time to time, and we just go have some fun and put some meat in the freezer. We ran about 20-25 miles outside of Boca Pass in about 70 to 80 foot of water. We did get some gag grouper, small amberjacks. We actually, believe it or not, we saw a lot of sharks. We got broke off on a lot of sharks. But we did fill the cooler with grunts and porgies. And just in that, like I said, 70, 80 foot of water out there. So we brought some meats home. Great things going on down here in Charlotte Harbor. Winds are calm right now. So guys want to come down here and go fishing? Let's do it. Give me a call. Look forward to talking to y'all later.
Thank you, Scotty. Yeah, the offshore bite. Talk a little bit about that because he had mentioned it there in the report. Getting a lot of reports of hogfish being caught now. It's that kind of year where they're kind of time of year where they're getting a little more active, and got a lot of pictures on the group that showed a lot of hogfish being caught recently.
Have you eaten hogfish?
I have. It's delicious.
Is it?
Yes.
Believe it or not, I've never had it.
No.
Nope. Well, years
Well-
ago, the only way to catch them was you spearfished them.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they started catching them on shrimp. But
Mhm.
I've never actually had hog. Well, no, not that I know of. No, I don't
No?
think so.
No. Well, and people may call me crazy, but there's one fish that's real close to it. And it's a fish I'm sure a lot of the offshore people have seen all the time, especially when pulling up on a reef and you get the spade fish that roam around the boat.
Mhm.
Let me tell you, they taste as close to hogfish as you will ever have.
But there's not a lot of meat because I caught a lot of spade fish over my.
Yeah, you've got to catch the bigger ones and you've got to catch a lot. And what I've found out over the years of eating them, and I will say it's a little odd because the fish, the fillet in itself is not white; it's almost grayish. So
Really?
it's kind of off-putting, but trust me, it's delicious. But what I've found out is that the top of the spade fish. So when you're filleting it above the middle line,
Uh-huh.
that is your better tasting piece of fish. Anything below that midline, it's not so good. So definitely give it a shot. It's really, really good. It's nice and tender. It's as close to hogfish as you're going to get. Nothing beats hogfish, obviously, but it's pretty dead gum close. The only thing is, it is a little off-putting because of the color, but it's still very, very
'Cause
good.
I've caught over the years thousands. I mean, even during the winter months, we'll be fishing for these sheepheads out here in the middle of the bay. And all
Mhm.
of a sudden, you'll have 70, 80, 100 of them
Mhm.
on the surface,
Yeah.
trying to pick up anything that comes off. But and nobody would eat them. And the last time I was in Tarpon Springs, there's a seafood place there,
Mhm.
and they had whole angelfish or spadefish,
Yeah.
just gutted,
Uh-huh.
and they were getting $2.99 a pound
Yeah.
for the whole fish. Now
Uh-huh.
there ain't a lot of meat on those fish unless they're
No.
real big.
No, you do have to catch quite a number of them. But it's once and I've caught some that are, pretty big spade fish, especially way offshore. But they are delicious. So if you're out there, give it a shot because it's not bad at all. And then he also had the Jack Crevalle. Jack Crevalle is not bad.
Smoked is not bad. Now I've
Smoked is
had
not
Jack
bad.
Crevalle smoked
Mhm.
as
Yeah,
long as you bleed them. I mean, as soon as you
correct.
hook one, you break that last
Mhm.
gill plate in the back and,
Yeah.
and just keep them in the water and you'll see them pump all the blood out. And
Mhm.
then you ice them good. I tell you what, you smoke a jackfish and it is good.
It is.
Amberjack is just like a smoked amberjack to me is
Mhm.
delicious.
It is. It's very good. Yeah. So, growing up, it was always a trash fish. I mean, we always threw it back and, it's just a jack. Well, nowadays, I'll tell the customer, hey, this is delicious. We'll bleed this thing out and give you the right pieces. And it's got to be the right size. It's kind of like most fish, either too undersized or there's nothing on there,
A
or
4, 5, or
oversized.
6 pound Jack
Yeah.
Crevalle, you get some 2 real good fillets out of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be the right size. The very, very large ones, the ones that take you 45 minutes to get in, not so much. But those 4 to 5 pounders, they're delicious. Not a problem at all eating those.
And this should be coming in pretty soon.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. Scotty had some in his report there.
Last year, the run on Jacks wasn't as good as in the past for some reason.
Mhm.
It was an off year down
Yeah.
here in Tampa,
Mhm.
because normally you get close to the power plant and man, those schools move in
Oh, yeah.
and you can sit there and fight them for an hour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they love running those canals. You get that, what we call the wolf pack. And they'll be here a few times as well as springtime in Crystal River, where all of a sudden the water just looks like this big bunch of torpedoes coming through, and it's a wolf pack of Jack Crevalle. And you throw a bait to them, and it's just fun to catch them. I think they're a great fish to have fun with. I think the longest fight I had with a Jack Crevalle was about 50 minutes. we chased that thing around up there in Pensacola off of the Escambia River. We chased that thing for 45 minutes. It was a tank. I mean, it took us, and we had very, very light stuff. We were fishing for trout and happened to get it. So we had to chase this thing in our little John boat. And for 45 minutes, we chased it till it took us all the way to the I-10 bridge across the Escambia Bay and finally broke us off.
Wow.
I mean, I think we traveled 4 miles chasing this thing. It was crazy. But we
He
saw
didn't
it.
give
We
up.
did get to see it. It was massive. I think it was the biggest one I've ever seen. But yeah, we lost it still.
Well, that happens. Let's
Yeah.
get
Hey, Jessica,
Jim Payson fishing
Yeah.
report.
go for it.
Hey guys, this is Jim with your Pasco County Fishing Report. Lots to dissect from this week. Starting out early in the week, cold front. Everything kind of changed. Waters got all the way down to 62, 63 in our area. Whitebait disappeared, other than just the exit part of the Anclote power plant. I know there's still there was whitebait there, but I didn't even go down there to try and catch it. So I ventured around just to kind of scout to see where everything was kind of transitioning. It was colder in the morning and then started warming up. Once it started warming up around 10, 11, 12 o'clock, the bite turned on for a little bit. Got a few decent trout off of kind of some rock area, and then got into a few redfish back into some like muddy bottom, kind of halfway down a creek, and it's got this muddy bottom patch that I found a few redfish kind of hunkered up. Got two of the 4 that were sitting there. Just throwing a voodoo shrimp at them. Just kind of threw it right in front of them with the scent, and just plucked those 2 off. Those are decent size. I mean, they were probably about 22, 23 inches each. But it all changed coming this last weekend. Weather got hot again, and definitely changed the fish and how everything was going. Went out, and whitebait was back on the flats for a little bit, right at the mouth of the rivers, in front of Gulf Harbors as well. And it was a good, easy to catch, but nothing really wanted to eat it. The main bite came on shrimp and came on pinfish still. I had whitebait, pinfish, and live shrimp with me both times we went out, and shrimp was definitely the number one winner for this weekend. So they're definitely moving into looking for crustaceans and shrimp. Ventured around, and as far as, let me go through the different species. The trout, redfish, and snook were kind of almost in the same area in the beginning of the day. We found and came upon a nice area with a snook in the morning. We were throwing topwater. Got 2 snook really quick on a topwater plug, and then all of a sudden dolphin showed up, ruined that spot. So we moved and went to the next spot, started casting, and probably about 5 minutes later, dolphin showed up there too, ruined that spot. So then we moved, once again, we moved to this other big open flat area with some potholes. Started cruising around those potholes, came across one pothole that was holding some huge trout. I mean, they were very, very large trout. There's about 4 of them just sitting there together, hunkered up right on the edge where the pothole met the grass. They were just sitting right on that edge. Stinks that we missed out on catching them, but I definitely marked it for some future tries. Also, while we were fishing during the day, all the redfish that we were catching was off the mangroves, probably about 50 feet, 60 feet, where the actual sandy hard bottom kind of met the grass. They were sitting right on that hard bottom. Both snook and the redfish were in the kind of the same area, sitting off the mangroves. Everywhere we went, it was kind of the same trend. Even in the creek areas, they were sitting in the middle. They were just right in that deeper, sandy, rocky area every time. They were just sitting there. We also went into some deep channels, leaving certain areas, and got on some bluefish. That was actually super fun. If you ever come across a pile of bluefish, they're fun to throw on and catch. They pull really hard. They pull fast, and they're fun to catch. 3, 4, 5 of them. It's a good time, and then you just move on. Other than that, we're probably just looking at now that it's getting warm back up again. It's going to be back to almost fall fishing. Shrimp's probably still going to be the key, but they're probably going to start moving back up into the mangroves a little more now that the water will start heating up. Yesterday, when I got off the water, it was still sitting around 68 degrees in the areas we were fishing. It started at 66 in the morning. So I would just go by those trends and see how you can get up on some fish. Start working out from the mangroves first, so you don't spook them. If they are outside of those mangroves, move up slowly up to the mangroves and fish outside first, and then move up into the area you want to fish. Because if they're holding outside those mangroves, you're going to get up on them super quick. You'll spook them. Like I said, we missed out on a few fish yesterday because we spooked them. We just came up on them. I wasn't going fast, but once you spook them, they're done. You got to circle around, and sometimes you can get them back there. But other than that, you just sometimes got to move spots. So with that being said, I'll try and get out this week again, get another update for next week before Thanksgiving. But then I'll be off there for about 2 weeks after that, between Thanksgiving and the week after. So I'll see if I can get something for you guys this week. See ya.
Yeah, and I forgot that Thanksgiving is coming up. It's a week from this Thursday, isn't it?
It is.
Whoa, it's getting
Appreciate
close.
it, Jim. Yeah, it's upon us already. It doesn't take long, is it? Not next week, week after, right?
Well,
look at the calendar.
no, it's not. This week will be.
Oh, it is next week.
Yes, next Thursday, a
27th.
week from
Wow.
Thursday. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's next week.
Yeah, it's next week.
It's here. It's
It
pretty
is
quick on
already.
top of us.
Yeah.
Now I think I was looking at the weather, and it looks like it's going to be beautiful all week.
Mhm.
So I'm
It
good
is.
because I'm going out tomorrow. I got a charter tomorrow, and then we're filming on Wednesday, and so I'm hoping that the weather stays like they said it's going to be.
Yeah.
We're,
Right.
we're due for some decent, steady weather for a while.
Yeah. Well, I was watching some reports earlier, yesterday, I think it was, and they're saying that we've got a very weak La Nina down south on the other side there in the Pacific. And that's what's actually going to kind of keep us a little warmer winter than what we're used to. So not a bad thing. I'm not complaining.
I'm 100% in favor of that.
Yeah. I don't mind the cool weather. As long as it stays cool, it's great. Don't really care for those 30s and 40s. But I think everything's going to kind of stay the really, really cold stuff is going to stay north for the majority of our wintertime. So it's not a bad thing at all.
And let's see how we're doing on time. That we better get. Let's get Tony Franklin.
All right, Captain Tony Franklin back once again with this week's fishing report. We've had a cold front come in this week. On Tuesday, it got quite cool. It's dropped the water temperature down quite a bit. The fishing's changed a little bit. Some things the bait had left the flats for a little bit. Later in the week, it did come back. So there's still bait on the flats, but the water temperature has really gotten cool. This week, later in the week, on Saturday, we had a charter. I had shrimp, I had the bait fish. They primarily bit the shrimp for the most part. So the shrimp's working better right now as the water's cooled. But there is some bait around the flats. The water temperature is going to come up because the weather is going to get a little bit warmer. But this week, the trout fishing still remained really, really good. Later in the week, after this cold front went through, the snook fishing has slowed way down. So the snook bite's been really slowed down. But the trout bite still remains strong. Before the cold front, the mackerel bite was really tremendous. And now later in the week, we also caught some mackerel. So there's some mackerel still around also, even though this water is cool. But if it continues to cool much more, the mackerel will be gone. There's still some mangrove snapper in the backwater areas where the water's a little bit warmer. There's been ladyfish out there for action. Been catching some bonnethead sharks once again this week. There's been some jack crevalles mixed in. So there's still good action as the water's cooled. But we have switched over to shrimp later in the week, and the shrimp seem to work better than the bait fish. Although the bait fish is still on the grass flats for now. Primarily, the shrimp worked better towards the end of the week on Saturday than the bait fish. I had both. So get ready to be able to change it up, get shrimp, get bait fish, start working the backwater canals and creeks as this water continues to cool, and the fish will be moving into those areas. So get ready to try some different things as the water continues to cool. That's my report for this week. Tight lines, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
And I guess Donald had the answer for Joe. He said that off the beaches about 2 miles out, there was kingfish. I haven't
Oh.
heard much. You know, usually when there's a good concentration, it all shows up right away on Facebook. Everybody showing you how they caught. And
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen much of that,
No,
you know?
no, that's good
So-
to hear.
So there's some, but Donald, is there a big concentration or is it just some? Because I haven't seen anything on Facebook page, you know?
Yeah. No, I haven't heard any reports up here. But I don't know that, it's something that's regularly hit up in my area. Like I said, we have to go so far offshore to really find any fish, but for those type of pelagic fish, but be interested to see if there's anybody that actually goes for them around here.
Well, let's go ahead and get Jessica, because then you
Yeah.
got your report.
Yeah, mine's a little lengthy, so.
Oh yeah. All right. So let's get Jessica.
Hey guys, Captain Jessica Hanovic with You'll Hook 'em Charters out of Chaz, Florida. So I haven't been doing much fishing because I got sick. I was able to get out yesterday. We fished the incoming tide. Most of what I did yesterday, a lot of people can't do. Since I run in a John boat, I can go really, really shallow. So I fished mainly one creek yesterday, and it's pretty decent, and it does pop out. But just watch your tides and stuff if you want to try to adventure like that. We did catch 20 reds probably in that creek. Most of them were 26 to 27s, and they were at least 7 to 8 pounders. So that was pretty cool. I did get a custom color done that I'm trying out for Q8 Superbait. Seemed to do really, really well yesterday for me, so I'm excited about that. Snook is still doing pretty good. I haven't really been fishing much, so I don't know really what's going on. I do know the water temperature, I believe it said it was 58. So I hope you guys can get out, tight lines, and if you want to try to do some backcountry fishing, hit me up. My phone number is 352-464-7309.
And thank you, Jessica.
Thanks, Jessica.
All right. And we better get you on because
Yeah, just go ahead and throw me on, and
Let's get
anything after
Mike
that.
Haynes on there.
Good evening, Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida. Well, this week I'm going to try a little different report as far as technique. Out there on the water, I tie a lot of knots, whether it be to lures or for leaders. And I've come up with a system that's pretty quick, especially for tying the FG knot. This knot is very versatile. It's very strong. A lot of offshore guys use it just because of its versatility. With the smaller guides that we have today on these rods, you've got micro guides for a lot of fishing rods. And the FG knot is one of those knots that will be able to go through those guides, especially if you got a longer leader, say 2 or 3 foot. You can put this through the top 2 or 3 guides and cast this out, and it will not catch. It will not give you hindrance in your casting or even reeling in. So this is one little technique that I've done that tends to save time, especially on the water. I would say the most important part is making sure your rod is secure, either in a rod holder or somebody holding it. Reason being is you got to put a little pressure on this main line that you've got coming off of your rod. And you'll understand as I go through this the reason why. But one of my techniques is real simple. I'm going to use my pinky, and the inside of my pinky, I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to back wrap it. So that way, and it's basically just so that line, I'm not tying it around my finger or anything else like that. I'm just wrapping it so this line is not going anywhere. I can move my hand. It's going to be very secure. I'm putting tension on the rod. It's very, very easy and very easy to, it's stable to control this line because you're going to be moving your hand back and forth. I will take my fluoro or mono, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lay it on top of here, okay? I'm going to kind of secure this leader with my other hand, but I've got all my fingers free. I'm going to take this line and I'm going to wrap it underneath and above. I'm going to do this about 20 times, 10 under, 10 above, somewhere in there. And what's happening is this line, okay, you can see where this line comes straight, this line's a little angled. What's happening is that is just kind of wrapping up that line, okay? So I'm going to keep doing this, keep wrapping till you get your time or how many wraps you need, which is again roughly about 10 wraps each side. Does very, very well. Keeps the knot nice and secure, but still very compact. Now, once I get all my wraps done, I'm going to take that leader line and I'm going to push it up here. Okay, it's going in direction of toward the rod. I'm going to loosen up the tag line on my main line. And all I'm going to do is put a simple knot around both the leader line tag and my main line. Just a simple, simple knot. Okay, and all that's doing is just kind of securing those wraps that I did. So basically, I've got all the wraps done. I've got a nice little secure knot. You don't have to really cinch this down or anything else like that. You just want to make sure it's secure, okay? Now, a lot of people, you see FG knots using dowels or something else like that. If you wrap your hand around this, you can pull. But like me, I've done it so many times, it keeps cutting all these little grooves in your fingers, and it sucks after a while, especially when it cuts so easily. So what I'll do is long sleeve. It's where I wear long sleeves a lot. Not only for sun protection, but it's easier to tie these knots. I will take this main line and I'll wrap it around my wrist, just like this. This is why see how much tension I've got on this rod? It's right here in my face. That's why your rod needs to be secure. Then I'll take the other line and I'll wrap it around, if I can get it. I'll wrap it around this wrist, so basically like handcuffs. And then I'm going to pull. I'm just going to put some tension on these knots. Okay, these tag lines are just going to sit here loose, and I'm going to pull. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of pulling those wraps a little tighter. Okay, so now I've got my wraps cinched and that in there, so they're nice and secure around there. And you can kind of see where it kind of bleeds through. It's hard to see on the camera, but when I do this in the light, you can actually see where those little translucent areas where those wraps have kind of pushed in there, and it's nice and secure. I will take, again, we're just going to put 2 more simple knots around the main line and around the tag end of that leader, just like that. Yep, if I can do this. It's hard to see with the light in my eyes. Okay, so now I've got 3 knots right there. I'll go ahead and I'll cut that tag into that leader. Okay, very, very simple. And then what I'll do is I'll do 3 more knots. Very simple overhand knots right on the main line. And what that kind of does is just protect that tag end that you cut off. Again, I can't see because the light's in my eyes. 1, 2, 3. And then all I'm going to do is cut this tag end off right here. Okay. And now you got a nice slim knot that goes through your guides. It is strong as all get out. You're not going to come off. And now you got your leader attached to your main line. And it's as easy as that. The more you practice, the faster you'll get. And I've gotten to where it's almost a minute or so. I can get this thing wrapped up and tied real quick. So Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida. We'll see you next time.
Good job, Mike.
Yeah.
The
That
only
is-
thing is, it's a great knot. I ain't got that kind of time.
Well, like I said, me explaining it takes a little longer.
Oh yeah.
But once you get to doing it on a regular basis, it takes me less than a minute to tie it. It's real quick. It's real simple. And it's something that I've used ever since. And the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. And there's plenty of videos out there on YouTube, which you can actually see everything better. Some people use ropes or something a little larger to do, but
Oh,
it's one of the
that
best
was
knots I've
great.
got.
I'm the old surgeon's knot.
Yeah, yeah.
It works good. It is
Oh
fast.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I mean, that's a beautiful knot, though. If
Yeah.
you're looking for quality and beauty, that's
Uh-huh.
the knot.
It
I'm
is.
looking for just let's get it tied, don't break loose knot.
Yeah. Well, like I said, a lot of it had to deal with the micro guides in the rods. And I love the micro guides. There's a lot more guides on a rod with the micro guides. And for that knot to be able to go through those guides just as easily as your line, that's one of the reasons why I learned how to tie it.
And you're right, because if that knot is not thin and you got a long leader
Mm-hmm.
that has to go through the tip of the rod through some
Yeah.
of those guides, when you go to cast, you can feel it. It goes bloop, bloop.
Yeah.
So you got to have a real tiny knot
Mm-hmm.
for it to work.
Yeah,
out.
and you don't feel that bloop bloop on an FG knot. I mean, it does not catch on anything. It goes in quite easily. And most of the time when I use it, if my client gets stuck on a rock or in the mangrove, or even I do it, and I'm pulling off, that knot does not come undone. It's either the leader breaks, at the hook, or the braid breaks. So it's a dadgum good knot. And it's one to learn, one to have in the books.
Like I said, I'm just more of a simple person,
Yeah.
real simple.
There you go.
And we want to hear more from our viewers. We really don't get to hear much from them. Donald's really good about it, and and we thank everybody that sent us in their fishing report. But a lot of the people that are watching the show, they just don't. We want you to participate a little more. Send
Yeah.
us some pictures.
Yeah.
We'd be glad to post some pictures and give us a little story behind the picture, and that would be great.
Yeah,
And
it would, because we can put it right up on there with any little story or how you caught it, what you caught it with, size, or anything else like that, your personal best. Yeah, please do. It'd be
that
great
would be
to
great.
interact with y'all.
We really appreciate it. And we're just about almost out of time.
We
So, Mike, tell us what you plan for the week.
Well, this week, being that it's warm, I'm gonna, find the trout. The trout have definitely come in a little bit closer. They're definitely more prevalent in the flats, so you're able to find them a little bit easier. But the redfish are definitely biting still. They're they love this cold weather as well. So you just kind of hunt around for them. But the redfish bite is good. Looking to hopefully maybe look on some rocks and find some sheep's head, because it's that time of year, and I love sheep's head. So we'll try to investigate a little bit this week and see what we could come up with.
All right. So it's time to say goodbye. We appreciate everybody tuning in. And remember, also watch our show on YouTube and all the streaming channels, Fishing Adventures Florida, and you'll get to see some of the hot action that we had with Captain Mike Haynes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and subscribe if you like the channel, please. It does help us on YouTube and everything else. God bless, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yep. I appreciate it, guys. We'll see you next
Bye.
time.